Welcome to the COVID-19 Recovery Grants Program Application Overview, created and presented by City of San Antonio, Texas. This is in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the utilization of CARES Act funds. I'm Selena Benya, and we at LiftFund are administering the program. The application for the grants period opens July 13th, which is Monday at 10 a.m., and closes Monday, July 27th at 5 p.m. This is the agenda for this brief tutorial, and we will be walking through several elements both at the program level and the grant level for people to better understand the program. The Recovery Grant Program Overview and Goals. City Council approved the COVID-19 Recovery and Resiliency Plan on June 4th, 2020 to provide emergency relief to the community for the ongoing pandemic. The plan was developed around 5 guiding principles: public health and safety, equity, braided funding, community resilience, and well-being. The strategies associated with the plan are with 4 pillars in mind: workforce development, housing security, small business support, and digital inclusion. We know that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused unprecedented challenges and disruptions to businesses and nonprofits, both nationally and locally. And the goal of the fund is to provide immediate relief to micro and small businesses and nonprofits struggling under the financial impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's also to assist with reopening safely, and the City of San Antonio will be providing this fund, which we'll discuss more of, as part of the Small Business Pillar program. The city is partnering with us, LiftFund, to utilize funding provided from the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, to provide emergency relief to businesses and nonprofits impacted financially due to COVID-19 pandemic. Funds need to be exhausted by December 30th. So what does this program entail? It's a $24.7 million fund for small businesses and nonprofits. Small businesses include self-employed businesses with 1 to 5 employees, both full-time and part-time, businesses with 6 to 10 employees, full-time and part-time, and then businesses with 11 to 20 employees, full-time, part-time. You can see there's a range associated with the grant. Up to 10% of the fund is dedicated to nonprofits. So let's talk about key dates. As I've mentioned, and I'll continue to mention, applications are open July 13th through July 27th. Application review and scoring July 28th through August 25th. Award notification and funds dispersed August 25th through September 15th. The grant award limitations include that it is limited to 1 per each physical address within the City of San Antonio. Only 1 grant will be awarded per business or nonprofit with more than 1 location, and grant applicants are only eligible to receive 1 grant award. Who qualifies for the grants? So an authorized representative should fill out the application, and we do ask that in the application. Businesses and nonprofits with 20 employees or less, including full-time, part-time, or contract employees. Self-employed is also included. That the annual gross revenue for the business and nonprofit organization is less than $2 million. That it's located within the City of San Antonio city limits and is willing to remain in the City of San Antonio for at least 1 year at the award date. Businesses and nonprofits must not be in the process of filing for bankruptcy. Businesses and nonprofits must demonstrate at least a 15% of revenue decrease and loss for the period beginning March 1st, 2020. And the losses have to be demonstrated towards the COVID-19 pandemic. Businesses and nonprofits must be established prior to August 1st, 2019, and businesses or nonprofits that received a grant through the Bexar County LiftFund program, both Part 1 and Part 2, are not eligible for grant consideration. The following type of businesses are not eligible for consideration, which include some professional services, CPAs, architects, landscape architect, land surveyor, physician optometrist, engineer, real estate appraiser, attorney, interior design, veterinarian, gambling or gaming businesses, national franchises, sexually oriented businesses, payday and auto loan providers, liquor stores, and businesses in which the city employee or officer has a financial interest. Again, the application process. So it's an online application. The URL will be at the end, and it's posted on most of our websites. It's open from July 13th, which is a Monday at 10 a.m. to July 27th, which is also a Monday at 5 p.m. Due to the nature of the funds being deployed, the time frame is pretty quick. Online applications are the only form in which we are accepting yours applications. Applications take anywhere from 25 to 60 minutes. For applications to be considered complete, all correct documentation must be uploaded. And that's why it's not a first come, first serve. You'll be able to log in and out of the application as well. If applicants answer incorrectly on the first part of the application, they are automatically disqualified through the application and will not be able to proceed. So as I mentioned, this is not a first come, first serve basis program. The first elements is that the business and nonprofit must meet the qualifications, which means inside the city of San Antonio, 20 employees or less, less than $2 million in gross revenue, and to demonstrate at least 15% losses attributed to COVID-19 pandemic. Those get you through and demonstrate the need to use CARES funding for your business or nonprofit. After that application meets those qualifications, we will be using the City of San Antonio's equity score, which is collected with 3 attributes. The first attribute is business location and combined score of the city's equity atlas, which looks at demographics and disparities within the city. Second, race, ethnicity, gender, and veteran status of the business. And third, access to other COVID-19 funding, specifically the SBA Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDL program. So the application has several steps. You have the application information, operations, employee insurance questions, federal funding questions, disaster budget overview, grant amount requested, a commitment to the Greater Safer Together pledge, and then you will have an initial submission that takes those answers and validates that you meet the criteria. If you meet that criteria, you move forward to the document upload section, which then also has the owner demographic information, a disclaimer, and a certify and submit page. So if you do not qualify, you will end the application at initial submission. You do have the option to go back prior to hitting submit. Please note that applications are all being reviewed with documents to validate size of business and nonprofit, losses attributed to COVID-19, and number of employees, as well as within the City of San Antonio's city limits. Emails from the application will come from noreply@bmisw.com. So you will receive a welcome, you started your application, and you will also receive a completion with a URL to access your application. You will also be able to use info@LiftFund.com if you have any questions, and we have a phone number dedicated to this program, 1-800-494-4973. So the documents required list. For businesses and nonprofits, there's several elements that are the same. The first is the business entity formation document, which is either at Bexar County or the Secretary of State, right? And or for nonprofits, it's their IRS nonprofit status letter. We will also need business operating bank statements from January through June of 2020 to validate losses. We'll also need 2018 or 2019 business tax returns. We will also need payroll documentation with employee listing and count and IRS 941 for Q1 2020. We'll need a valid personal identification. We'll need proof of business location inside City of San Antonio. We'll need proof of business owner, race, ethnicity, and gender, or the SCTRCA documentation, that is, the business owner would have that on hand as of today. Lastly, if veteran status, military DD 214, or an honorable discharge documentation, if applicable. Where it's different for nonprofits is obviously the nonprofit status letter, the board resolution allowing for the grant award to be received by applicant, and a board member listing with officers and demographics. So ideally, you are gathering these documents prior to the application so that you can upload them. You can use your phone to upload these documents as well. Please note that bank statements need to be complete bank statements. So compliance and reporting. Awardees, so those who receive the funds, will be required to partner with a small business ecosystem organization to map out a 2020-2021 strategic plan for the business and recovery, for the business and obviously for the recovery process. Awardees will also be required to provide an updated economic impact report in December of 2020, in March 2021, and in December 2021. This should include business status, employment numbers, business finances, and a business activity update. Thank you for listening to this webinar. We wish you the best of luck. Here is the application URL. It's also on the website. Again, the best email is info@LiftFund.com. Best phone number is 1-800-494-4973. We're here to help you, and we hope to see and hear from you soon. Thank you.